On November 27th, there's a full moon in Gemini. That full moon is sitting opposite the Sun, conjunct Mars, and everything is squaring Saturn. That's all about whether to follow the rules or break the rules. What does that mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about. So every full moon is an opposition with the Sun. And so as the moon lines up, it takes on the full light of the Sun, and that's what makes it so bright. And so if we picture that this full moon is you, and you're in the schoolyard, and across from you, on the other side of the schoolyard, is the coolest kid in school, the Sun. You know, this kid is the most talented, the one who, shines in tests and in sports and everything, has so much potential. And this kid is standing next to Mars, the most daring kid in school. So the kid that's going to jump the fence, the kid that's going to, take the risks. And so these two, the most popular kids in school, are standing across from you, and they start motioning for you to come over and join them. And you're like, oh my gosh, the cool kids are wanting me to join them. And so you start to move towards them, and out of the corner of your eye, you see the principal, Mr. Saturn. Mr. Saturn is Mr. Rules, the one that says, be careful, don't get out of place, make sure that everything is perfect, make sure that all your homework is done, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, make sure that everything is right before you take a step forward. And so Mr. Saturn is watching you as you are making this decision of whether you're going to go over and be with the cool kids who are going to break rules, or if you're going to just do what you've done before and just toe the line. So in this process, right now, you have what could be the greatest moment in your school life, where you're joining the cool kids, where you're coming together to do some sort of adventure. And this is a Sun in Sagittarius and a Mars in Sagittarius. This is the most adventurous pair. And you could join them, but you're going to have to break a rule or defy an authority. And that authority could be an actual authority, or it could be someone you have set up as an authority in your life. They're not really an authority, but you've decided that they're the authority. Or it could be a mystery in authority, like someone will just jump out and say, I am now the authority and you cannot do this. So it is, possibly inside you saying, don't go there. Maybe you have like an inner principle, an inner Saturn that's yelling at you, or it's somebody externally. But you now, in these next 2 weeks, have an opportunity to go play with the cool kids, but to do so, you are going to risk breaking a rule. Now, in this video, we are doing tropical Western astrology. It's a good idea to listen to your rising sign or your ascending sign. That is going to tell you more about what's going to be happening over this 2-week period. If you don't know your rising sign, I can send you a PDF of your chart. There is a link in the description. I have some books and courses out. I talk about them every time. This time I'm not going to talk about them. It's a mystery. Like, if you want to know about them, there's a link in the description. I also do readings, and yes, there is a link in the description. I want to thank you so much for watching these videos and supporting me and supporting astrology. I think astrology, of course, is very important for the world, and your support really helps. I'm on Instagram, and so if you want to, see a little picture, a little bit of artwork about what the transit is of the day, check me out on Instagram. There is a link in the description. All right, let's go sign by sign. Okay, Aries, this full moon is in your house of ideas. And oh my goodness, you have a lot of ideas. You have ideas of things you want to do and things you want to try, places you want to go, people you want to meet. And you are sitting opposite that Sun, Mars in Sagittarius in that house of experiences. So these are the people in your life and the people you've heard of who have done the things that you're thinking about doing. And so they're the ones who say, yeah, like you want to go to Spain for lunch? Sure, let's go. They're the ones who have the experience, who are encouraging you to tap into your ideas and go and do these things. And then Mr. Saturn is the one who is sitting in your house of hidden thoughts, the shadow self, the unconscious. And so how this feels is that there is this little nagging feeling that if you step out of line, then there's trouble. It's like there's no real hard, fast rule here that you can break. It's just, in fact, that makes it all the more difficult because it's all blurry. It's all like, I don't know when I'm crossing the line, when is too much, when is not enough. And so this is like this nagging feeling that if you do something at any time, an authority figure is going to jump out at you and say, oh, caught you. But because there's no real list of rules, because there's no real, defined border, you don't know when you cross it. And so you're going to have to decide whether you can live with that sense of uncertainty that something's going to jump out at you and say, got you. And yet, if something does happen like that, generally whatever the consequences are, you can handle. If they say, oh, you didn't turn your paper in on time, you say, okay, all right, now I will turn it in. I'll take the penalty. I will be okay with it. So this is your opportunity to do some of the things that you're thinking about. And all you need to do is say, yes, I have this nagging suspicion that I shouldn't because somebody's going to tell me I'm breaking a rule, but maybe it's okay anyway. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the sun's making a conjunction with Mars, and so that means that love is right there. You just need to step out the door. You need to maybe go to some, like a social event, maybe go to a speed dating thing, maybe just say yes to somebody asking you out to coffee. But there is an opportunity here for you to meet someone for a love relationship, so I say go for it. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a semi-square to Mars. Now, a semi-square means that there is a little bit of friction going on. That means that for the two of you to come together on something, that there's some small, tiny little obstacle. And, it's interesting because there's so many studies out there in psychology and, consumer behavior and all that a little bit of friction can stop progress. And so be aware that little bit of friction could be stopping you from the happy relationship that you want. Just some little thing that is bothering you. This is the thing that could be worked out this time. And once the air is cleared, then you can feel like you can move forward. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which is in your house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations, mentors, and other sort of connections. And so the more people you meet, the more money you're going to make. Now, this Venus is sitting right by the South Node. So that means that you could pull in people that you've known before, but also from past lives. So if you believe in past lives, think about, putting your energy out there in the world, and you could attract people who owe you, people who want to work with you because they've worked with you in the past. And also consider people you have reached out to before about working together. This could be the time that you connect. Now, when it comes to money from business or money from your investments, you're making about the same as usual. Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto. What I think is going on is you are very focused on expanding the business perhaps, or looking for other investments. And so it might be that more money is going out, or that you're just focused on building the business versus actually, finding the profits. And, that's okay. Businesses go through cycles, and investing, sometimes you're putting the money into the investments and you need to wait. So this is only a 2-week period. But right now I see you making about the same as usual. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, Venus is making an inconjunct to Uranus. And that means that, yes, you could get a raise, but there's going to be some sort of thing you don't want to do in the process. So that could mean that, yes, you get the raise, but you have to work with some people that you don't really want to work with, or that you have to work on a project you really don't want to do. So you may want to wait. This energy is going to line up better in the future. And so you may just want to wait until this aspect is better. Okay, Taurus, you're doing this full moon in your house of money and financial opportunities, and it's sitting opposite those cool kids who are in your house of resources. And so that's resources, everything from someone who's going to, show you how to do a business, or show you, like good vendors or good investments, or, teach you how to use Photoshop, to someone who lowers your interest rates or gives you a loan. And this is all doing a square to Saturn, which is in your house of technology in the future. And so the energy is that you have all of these financial opportunities, and what's holding you back is that maybe you feel like, I don't know the technology, this is too big a hurdle, or I'm not sure if the future is going to, what if we have a recession? What if we have inflation? What if we have more inflation? What if, what if? And so that you're trying to find the right time to do something when, the best time would be right now, right? What's the old Chinese saying is, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 20 years ago. And when's the second best time? Today. So that is, instead of listening to Saturn, and who's saying, you need to make sure that you do the timing perfectly. It is to look at the resources that are available to you now, because there's more there than you think. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making a sextile to Mercury, so you have an opportunity to meet someone new for a love relationship. Now, Venus is sitting in your house of daily routines, and so that might mean meeting them at a coffee shop, or where you buy your groceries, or at work. And then Mercury is in that house of intimacy, and so that can mean that you meet someone just because you pass by and you're quite physically attracted to them. They're physically attracted to you, and so there's a lot of chemistry that could go on. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, and so the relationship is just going along as it has been. And that means that, you're doing your stuff, they're doing their stuff, you're coming together when you normally do, but it's you can't really work out problems, and the relationship isn't really growing at this point. It's just, you're just doing the relationship normally. So, and sometimes people really like that, because it's stable. Now, when it comes to your money, of course, you're doing very strong money energy. The full moon is in that house, and you're pulling money from Mercury, which is in your house of resources and investments and, credit and other opportunities. So you have really good opportunities. This does indicate, that it would be a good idea to look at your investments, to look at your insurance, to, talk to your banker, talk to your broker, to really investigate and learn about these things. Maybe take a class in investing or on starting a business, maybe to look into how to expand your business or fund your business. So you have a lot of opportunities when it comes to money that way. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or investments, Mercury is making a sesquiquadrate to Jupiter. A sesquiquadrate is a really interesting aspect. It is literally, it's a square and a semi-square. So we know a square is very, very active. It's a little combative, and then the semi-square is a kind of where there's friction. And so I always think of like dragging a heavy metal box across a concrete floor. It's going to make that squeaky sound. So the combination here is you get the money by forcing things. Like if you had a bolt that you needed to tighten, you're like, you're really putting your back into it. That's where you're going to make these big profits if you will put the effort in. That's the sesquiquadrate isn't, it's just this aspect for 2 weeks, but it does say put the effort in and you get rewarded. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, Mercury's making a square to Neptune. And so there is a definite opportunity here for you to get more money from, whatever job, whether that is, increase in the paycheck or some sort of perks or, more time off or getting to work at home or, there are opportunities. If you're looking for a new job, you have an opportunity to negotiate for a higher salary as well. Okay, Gemini, this is your full moon, and that means that the full moon is in your house of confidence and personal expression and how you are seen out in the world, and that means that the cool kids, Sun and Mars, are sitting in your house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations, and they're the ones saying, come on, join the party here. And as you move towards them, out of the corner of your eye, you see Mr. Saturn sitting at the very top of your chart, and Saturn is saying, hey, why do you think that you can hang out with those people? Are you dressed right? Are you going to make, faux pas? Are you going to put your foot in your mouth? Are you going to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing? Or Mr. Saturn is saying, oh, I don't know if these kids are worthy of hanging out with. They look like troublemakers to me. You're a good straight-laced kid, so don't hang out with these, kids who have all these big ideas. And so there is this pressure of kind of this nebulous, societal rules that you're putting pressure on yourself to do the right thing. What will people think? What will people think is the problem here. And if that type of idea crosses your mind, that's that Saturn at the top of your chart saying, I have to look perfect. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making a sextile to Mercury, plus Venus is in the house of romance, Mercury is in the house of relationships. This is some of the best energy you've had in a long time for meeting someone new. So this is a time to say yes to a date, to ask somebody out, to go to social events, to ask your friends and family to fix you up. So you have really good energy for meeting someone new right now. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury's making a sesquiquadrate to Jupiter. And being that Jupiter's in Taurus and Taurus is a sign behind you, it is like there is a problem, but it's either misdefined or it's not clear. And so the two of you need to come together, but even that feels like it's difficult right now. And so you may want to wait until this energy clears, but know that there is something that is, there's an opportunity to fix something, but it's going to be difficult. There's a challenge connected to it. It may be that, in the midst of an argument, you suddenly have an epiphany of what's really going on, or you suddenly realize that your partner's misinterpreting something you say. So again, this is not the easiest energy to deal with, so you may want to wait until this lines up, but it's right now, it's possible that you could work something out, but it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some sweat to do so. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the moon, which is the full moon, which is you being very noticeable, and it's in your house of confidence. And that means that if you just say to yourself, you know what, I've done similar things in the past, so I can do this in the future. Or, I see other people doing it, so therefore I should be able to do it too. Like finding a way to be confident, to move yourself forward. And if you can't find that, to go and find those cool kids, the Sun and Mars, to say, hey, I want some help, take me by the hand. So you can do either of these and make more money this time, but it really starts with you saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Now, when it comes to money from business or money from investments, the moon's making a square to Mars, and that means that you have a big opportunity to make more money over the next 2 weeks. That may be that you are expanding the business, or you're sending out invoices, or, customers are finding you finally, because now you're more noticeable. But something is happening where you have more opportunities. And so this is a time where you want to expend a lot of energy to capitalize on this. Don't just allow this to happen, but go after it, and you can really multiply your returns. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, the moon's making an opposition to Mars. And so there is a way to find some sort of middle ground. Oops. So to find that middle ground, and that is that you may have to compromise in one area, they'll have to compromise in another area, and then you'll come together. But it would start with you taking a step towards this and saying, let's have a meeting, and then they take a step towards you and say, yes, let's have a meeting, let's start to discuss this, and you can find that place where you can come together in the middle. Okay, Cancer, you are doing this full moon in your house of intuition and connection with the universe and your unconscious, your connection with your higher self. And it's sitting opposite those cool kids in your house of health, well-being, and daily routines. And so there is this kind of inner knowing that you are having about what you should be doing on a daily basis, what is good for your body, what is good for your emotional well-being. There is this, maybe you're drawn to spiritual practices right now. Maybe you're drawn to herbs or some sort of holistic practice. There is something where maybe you're more connected to the universe and you're receiving information about what to do on a daily basis. And then this is all square Saturn that is in the house of rules and of here's the facts, here's the study. And all of this, barrage of confusing information, that one minute you hear that coffee is bad for you, and then the next one is coffee can save your life, and then, that you need to take this much of this medication, but never take that medication. And it's all of this confusing information. And so there is this conflict about whether to try to process all of this data, or to go within and trust your higher self. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's making a trine to Pluto. Very, very nice aspect. Pluto's in your house of relationships. But the moon's a little bit hidden, okay, because it has you looking within, and so it is that you're noticeable, but you're not noticing others, if that makes sense. And so that is that someone may be asking you out and you don't realize it, that your friend kind of nudges you and say, hey, they just asked you out on a date. And, you were like, I didn't see it. So this is where if you are looking for love, you need to be really looking and say, okay, is this person interested? What's my connection with this person? Can I connect with someone at a party? It's with the moon in this placement, it's like you're not even going to the party. So instead, say yes and go to the party, and you could meet someone. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's making a square to Saturn. And so there are things you can work out during this 2-week period. And that is that, one of you may be feeling like you want to move forward on something, and the other one's like, I'm not sure. And so, but the best use of this energy is the two of you come together to work on something difficult. And that is an opportunity, to maybe buy a house, or to move cross country, or to do an investment, or start a business, or to, work with the kids on something. There's something you can do together where you bring together your expertise, where you bring together your knowledge and your abilities, and you act as a unit. And so that's the energy here, is to focus on what the two of you can do together. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the sun, which is sitting with Mars in your house of work and daily routines. And so this just says, you know what you want to do. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's doing investing. Maybe it is to explore another job. It just says, just go do it. The opportunity is right there. So post your resume, look at the investments, get your website up, do whatever is the next steps. And that's, and do this on a daily basis for the next 2 weeks. See how much ground you can cover in that 2-week period. So, because that's what's leading you to money. Now, when it comes to money from business or money from investments, you're making about the same as usual. I see you doing a lot of stuff, like you're working at it. That's fantastic. And then that money will start to come in, but I think it'll come in, the extra money will come in outside the 2-week period. So I think you're making about the same as usual. You do have Uranus in a money house. It's been there for a while, but the sun is in your house of work. So this is like, it's predicated on, how much work you do, therefore then the money comes. But because there's no aspect, I think that most of this is coming outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to money from career, so like a paycheck is an entirely different story. The sun is making a semi-square to Venus. So that is an opportunity to make more money than usual. So, and it does look like this may be like a one-time thing, like getting a bonus, or there's some sort of contest, or, that the company owed you and now it shows up in your paycheck, or you are getting a new job and so you're negotiating for a higher salary. And so you're doing that negotiation as a one-time thing. So a semi-square is not the easiest. You may say, I wish it was easier, and this will line up better in the future. But right now it is an aspect, so you could make more money than usual doing your job over the next 2 weeks. Okay, Leo, you're doing this full moon in your house of the future. It's the house of community and technology and all of the possibilities of the future. And it's sitting opposite the cool kids, the sun and Mars, in your house of fun, risk-taking, creativity, enjoyment, So it is about, thinking about all of the things that you could do, with your life in the future, with technology, with other people, and how fun it's going to be. And then out of the corner of your eye is Saturn, sitting in that house of control and sitting in that house of keeping everything safe and secure. And so Saturn's saying, don't take risks. Don't be creative. Just stick with what you know. Stick with the things that are safe. Stick with the things that are not going to pull you outside your comfort zone at all. And so this is where you're making the choice. Should you go and find something that you love to do, that you're creative at, that brings joy to many people? Or should you just stay and, continue to do something that you might not like, but it's paying the bills. It's the same thing over and over. So it feels safe and it feels secure, even though we know that, change is constant. And so it may not be secure. So that's why I'm kind of gently trying to push you towards the creativity and fun side. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have a lot of planets happening in your house of romance. That's really lovely. But the sun's making an inconjunct to Jupiter, which means meeting somebody who's very different than you were expecting. It's like they show up and they don't look anything like their picture, but they're still interesting, or they look exactly like their picture, but their personality is very different than you were expecting. So there's some sort of adjustments that have to be made to make this happen. Maybe it is that you're very busy and you have to make time to see the person, or you have to adjust your schedules because, you're going out of town, they're going out of town, and you're missing each other. So you're going to have to do something a little extra to get this meeting happening. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the sun's not making an aspect with Uranus, so things are just going along as usual. not a lot of change going on. There's, you might talk about a change, might talk about moving the relationship forward, but nothing's really happening because the aspect's not there. The connection is more about just doing things as you normally do them. And that's don't try to push something because it's just going to fizzle. And that's only for the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is doing a pair of aspects. And so it's making a trine to the North Node, as well as a square to Neptune. And so when we pull those two energies together, what we get is this strong feeling that you need to go in a direction, but you don't really know how to do it. Like it's like walking on a bridge in the fog. You know the bridge is there, but it's still a little scary because you can't really see the bridge. So that is, you're kind of feeling your way. And that's what you're supposed to do with this energy, is just take a step and then see if it's solid, and take the next step and see if that's solid, and take the next step and next step and next step. And so thinking about that in terms of money, that could be with your business or investments or any sort of transactions you're trying to do, is just you take a step, see how it's going, then take the next step. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or from investments, Mercury's making a square to Neptune, and that is money in your hands. That means there's opportunities for you to make more money than usual through, maybe sending out invoices or getting people to pay you, or raising your prices, sending out a new product. You might be launching some big thing you've been working on for a while. Make a big announcement. So you have opportunities to make more money over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, it's a very interesting thing because the full moon is there. So you may be presented with an opportunity where you weren't really thinking about it, but because Mercury is so active in your chart, it could be that, the supervisor like hints that you could get a raise, and then just jump on that and say, let's set up the meeting. Or there could be some talk of a new position opening up, or, maybe you got a little bit of a ping back from a resume you sent out a while ago. Just something is telling you, oh, look, there's an opportunity, and then move forward and try and grab hold of that. Okay, Virgo, this full moon is lighting up your entire chart. It's right at the very top, and so that makes you extremely noticeable. It gives you opportunities in a lot of different directions, and that's sitting opposite those cool kids, Sun and Mars, sitting right at the base of your chart, kind of giving you a foundation, kind of saying, we've got your back, we're supporting you. And that means that friends and family, people who you consider your spiritual family, those people are ready to step up and help you out. And then, of course, out of the corner of your eye, you see Saturn, and Saturn sitting in that house of other people. And those are the people you are just meeting now, the people who you don't know if they're going to be supportive or not supportive. And that's your nervousness is, what if they say, oh, you don't know enough, or you're not good enough? What if they say, oh, I don't like what you're doing? It's like you could get 1,000 positive comments and get one negative comment, and that just ruins your day. That's what the Saturn is doing. And so it is necessary right now to focus on the fact that you do have support, that, you got the 1,000 positives, or that you got one positive from somebody who knows you well. So what does it matter that the outside world doesn't understand what you're doing? That if they're critical, or, so that's your challenge this time, and your opportunity. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury's making a sextile to Saturn, and that is an opportunity for you to come together with somebody new. Now, this is an out of sign sextile, so this person may, when you first meet them, you may go, I don't know. Or they may be different in some way than you were expecting, or they don't look like their picture, or they came from a place, like a source that you were like, I didn't expect to meet someone there, but there is an opportunity to meet someone new for a love relationship in the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury's making a square to Neptune, and so there's an opportunity to work together to expand your vision of what you want your relationship to be and what you want your lifestyle to be and where you want to live and how you want to raise your kids and all of that. So you have an opportunity to really work something out, to come together and have a stronger relationship. And so, sometimes that means, airing what you're thinking, listening to them, deciding, if you are matching your terms, like you understand what they mean by love or commitment, and they understand what you mean by those terms. But you have this great opportunity to work together on the relationship over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which is in your house of money, and it's sitting with the South Node. And what that is it is that you are repeating a pattern that you have done quite a bit in your life. And so if your pattern is that you look for opportunities, then you're going to look for opportunities. But if your pattern is a sense of scarcity, a sense of, I'm not sure if I'm going to make enough, or really being focused on counting the pennies or not paying attention to your money, or whatever your pattern is, you are right now kind of in that, and you need to break free of it. You need to recognize that you're doing something as you've done it before and say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do something different. And that's the thing that's going to lead you to prosperity. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is making a semi-square to Mars. That is the opportunity to make more money if you do a kind of irritating part of the business or the irritating part of the investing. And maybe that's like reading the prospectus. I mean, what could be more irritating than that, right? Or, just having to log into your accounts every day to check to make sure that things are okay, or to go through the process of, setting up maybe credit card processing or figuring out interest rates or things like that. This is, if you do those nitpicky sort of things, you're going to make more money than usual over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, the moon's making a sesquiquadrate to Venus. That means that, yes, you could make more money, but there is a hurdle. They're going to give you some sort of thing that you have to do that maybe you don't want to do. So there's going to be a cost to it. And that could be that they say, yes, you can have the new position, but you can't go on vacation when you want to. Or that you have to ask for the raise and they're saying no, and you really have to fight for it, negotiate. This energy is going to line up better in the future. So unless you're in negotiations right now, if you're in negotiations right now, then keep going on it. Do the hard stuff and get that done. But if this is something that you're just starting the process, you might want to wait until this energy lines up, which it'll line up much more nicely pretty soon. Okay, Libra, you are doing this full moon in your house of writing, teaching, and publishing. It's about knowledge and education and travel. And it's sitting opposite those cool kids in your house of ideas, and which means that if you need to write something, if you're producing content, then you can ask someone and they are going to give you ideas. Or maybe you go to ChatGPT and it gives you ideas. Or if you say, I'm thinking about traveling somewhere, then other people are going to say, oh, here's an idea, here's a thought, you could do this, you could do this. There are people to give you advice, to give you information when you need it. Now, out of the corner of your eye, though, you see Saturn, and Saturn is sitting in your house of routines and in this house where it wants things perfect. And so it says, hey, if you're going to do this, you have to do it perfectly. You cannot move until you have everything done properly. Don't put out anything because you might miss a comma. You might say something incorrectly. You might misspell something. Like, it's saying don't budge unless you know that it's going to be done right. Or the the other side of this is it says don't do something because then you're going to have to do it forever. You're going to have to do it every single day for the rest of your life. And so that's where you're feeling this pressure and where you need to break the rules and say, I might do this once and then never again. Or I might put this out there and someone tells me, hey, there's a misspelling. Yeah, I'll just correct the spelling. So looking at what you can do now and kind of try to silence that inner critic. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making an inconjunct to Uranus, which is this opportunity to meet someone who's very different than you're expecting. And it's possible that, like you read their profile, you get an idea in your head, and when you meet them, you go, oh, this is what you meant. But it's also possible that you're in new circumstances and you meet someone where you didn't expect to meet them. You go with your friend to a concert of a band you don't really know, and you meet somebody there. Or you surprise yourself, you go to a party, and there's a person when you were thinking you were just going to hand out business cards or something. Do people still hand out business cards? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you still hand out business cards. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a semi-square to Mars. This means that you have an opportunity to work out something that has been bothering you. And that means that you could come together with your partner and, first it'll feel a little bumpy and then it will smooth out. Now, a better use for this energy is for the two of you to come together to tackle little nagging problems that have been happening, like maybe you need to refinance your mortgage, or, well, probably not these days, but maybe you need to do some repairs at home, or, come together about a project or one of the kids, or, so there is an opportunity, but there's a little bit of friction. And so maybe that's scheduling issues, or that you're not quite on the same page about what you're trying to accomplish, but you can come together and strengthen the relationship if you work on a project as a team. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Pluto, which is sitting in your house of home and family. It's still going to be there for a bit. And you're also pulling money from Mars. Remember, one of the cool kids who is ready to break some rules. And so this is where you ask yourself, what do you think that you should do? And then say, well, what if I can't do that and I did something different? What if I did the opposite of what the rule says? Well, what if I make up my own rules? And so this is about looking at things from a different way, from a different perspective of saying, I don't have to do what the convention says. And, this could be anything when it comes to money. It could be that, the resume has to be sent in on their form and you send a video resume instead, or that you are doing a business and so the convention says, you have to post in social media every single week, but you don't. You randomly post. It is about doing something differently and seeing what kind of results you get. Now, when it comes to money from business or money from investments, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, it's making a semi-square to Mars. So this means you can make more money. It's going to be more work. There's going to be more effort that's needed. And that might mean that, that you have less time. And so that you have to get all of the business stuff done in less time. And, I just saw a good video on that about how when you compress time, you get into flow state. And so you can actually get much more done. So I'll try and link that video in the description. Or this could be that you've been procrastinating on something in the business, thinking that it's too difficult, but you just need to break it down into smaller steps, like changing your website or figuring out a new type of investments. So you have an opportunity to make more money over the next 2 weeks if you will do this small hurdle. Now, when it comes to money derived from careers, that would be like a paycheck. The sun's making a sextile to Pluto and a conjunction to Mars. So this is some of the best energy you've had in quite a while. This is the time to ask your supervisor to sit down so you can talk about your career path, to say, what are the opportunities? What are the openings? The energy is lined up here for you to get some positive feedback, to get a timeline, to even get the raise in your hands. And if you are negotiating for a salary for a new job, really push on this because you have some good energy at this time. Okay, Scorpio, you're doing this full moon, lighting up your house of resources. That is, that there's so many different opportunities and people to help, and that there's different directions you can go for making money and finding just general opportunities. And this is sitting opposite the cool kids in your house of money. And the cool kids are saying, you know what, to take some risk. You're going to spend money, but you're going to make more money. And as you maybe invest, you're going to find, you're going to learn, you're going to grow. And that's ultimately going to make you more money in the long run. But out of the corner of your eye, you see Saturn sitting in your house of creativity and risk-taking, saying, Don't take risks. Don't be creative. Don't, rock the boat in any way. Just stick with the straight and narrow, and, if you're going to take a risk, make sure that, you have a slide rule out and you're judging the pros and the cons in an endless sort of fashion to make sure that everything could be thought of. And so this is your challenge right now, whether you're going to take a risk or whether you are going to, say, I can't get out of my comfort zone. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Neptune's making a sextile to Pluto. That's lovely. It's interesting because the Venus is hidden from you, and Venus is what you want. So there may be some, like you're uncertain at the moment what it is you do want. Maybe you're thinking of someone from the past. Maybe you're wanting to move forward and you haven't decided about that. Or perhaps you are just starting to see someone and you're not sure. So there is a little bit of indecision that we're seeing this time. And maybe you just need to stop and meditate on this and think it through. And then, the answer will come to you. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, even though Venus is not making an aspect to Pluto, it's making a semi-square to Mars. That is an opportunity to come together as a couple to work out some difficult things. And it's less about working it out between the two of you, but the two of you being a united front to work out something together as a team. And so that might mean, doing something like moving or, starting a business together or dealing with some stuff about the kids and, the education and those sort of things. So look for projects that you can work together. That's a good way to use this energy. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Jupiter, which is in your house of relationships, bringing you opportunities and new people, new customers, mentors, and people to collaborate with. Plus, your house of money is part of this full moon. So you have enormous money opportunities this time. So you do not want to sleep through this 2 weeks. You want to be looking around and saying, what are the ideas? What are other people doing? What am I interested in? And at least make a list of the different possibilities. If not, take some meetings, connect with people. So you have really good money opportunities for the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or investments, Mercury is making a sesquiquadrate to Jupiter. That means that you can do something for making more money. It's a little outside your comfort zone. There's a little bit of a luck factor, like if you prepare, if you are ready for the opportunity, then when that door swings open, you say, okay, I can go through it. That would be like the customer is there, but you need to finish the website, or the investment is coming up to be something to invest in, but you need the capital or you need the money freed up so that you can invest in it. So this is about getting prepared for the opportunity, and then everything comes together. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, even though you're still doing that same sesquiquadrate, the Mercury in that house of money for you and Jupiter in your house of relationships, I think that lines it up pretty nicely. That means if you can get the meeting to happen with your boss, you're probably going to get the raise. The trick is getting the meeting. Maybe they're on vacation, maybe you've been on vacation, like maybe there's something that is blocking this meeting. It's a hurdle that you have to get over, but at the moment they reach out to you, you jump on it and say, hey, let's talk about this. So you do have an opportunity over the next 2 weeks. Okay, Sagittarius, this full moon is happening in your house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations. And so you have a lot of people telling you, hey, come to our side, come join us, collaborate with us. And the Mars and Sun, the cool kids, are actually in your own sign of Sagittarius, which means that you have the ability to go and connect with these people. You've got the confidence, you have the skills, but out of the corner of your eye, there's Saturn at the base of your chart saying, what if I don't? This is the voice from childhood. This might be, your parents or your teachers when you were a kid saying you don't know enough, you're not good enough. And so this is, are you going to listen to that? And which is an old voice. It's a voice that's, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years or more years old. And that voice is the thing that's holding you back. No, you should be saying, okay, thank you that you're giving me like a history lesson, but I'm not that person anymore. I can move forward and collaborate and connect with people. And these people who are telling me that, they're going to tell you that you're so cool. They want to do things with you. So accept it and say, oh, maybe I am that cool. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mars is making an inconjunct to Jupiter. But this is also, and I shouldn't say but, that's an aspect. So that's good. Even though it's a difficult aspect, it's still good. But this new moon is lighting up relationship houses. I just said new moon. It's a full moon. This full moon is lighting up relationship houses, and Mars is making an inconjunct to Jupiter. I've got it straight now. And what this means is that you could meet someone in a very unexpected way, in a way that, maybe they weren't the type you were looking for, or there's something that's different about the person, but they're still intriguing. It's still an interesting possibility. And so this might mean that somebody asks you out and you hadn't even considered going out with them, but this could be something that is really a connection. And so you have really good energy for meeting someone. It's just open your mind to the possibilities that they may not be what you have considered your type. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a sesquiquadrate to Jupiter. This indicates that you may be trying to work out something between the two of you. And there's if you can, stick with it a little bit, you could work out something that's major, which would be great. That you'll figure out that you define terms a little bit differently and now you can get on the same page, or that something that you didn't know was bothering them, they tell you, or vice versa. But a better use for this energy is to come together to do something that you think is bigger or bolder than you would have done before. And so that might be you tell people you are going to move to an island in the Pacific, or that you are going to build your own house, or, do something as a couple and, say, yeah, we're going to commit to this. And we're going to be a team. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Saturn that we've been talking about all this time, about, giving rules and kind of being the stick in the mud. And this is your money planet. So how do you deal with this? Well, you become the authority and you decide the rules. If you can't, if the principal of the school is going to be, coming down on you, become the principal. Become the person who makes the rules, and then you can decide what rules are right for you. So that is, be the authority. Instead of allowing other people to say, oh, I know more about money, or things, you know about your own money, you know about your own habits. Be your own authority, and then decide what the rules are for you and what's right for you. That's how to use this energy to make more money. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the moon's making a square to Saturn, so you have opportunities to make more money than usual over the next 2 weeks. That is that there's going to be something that's right there, a door. You just turn the knob, you can go through that door, or somebody's knocking on the door and you can open the door and let them in. That can be, new customers, new opportunities to collaborate, new investment opportunities. They're right there. So this is that you're going to see it, and then you have the energy to go take action. So don't don't allow, some external authority to say, oh, I don't think you should do that, or you don't know what you're doing. No, you say, if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to figure it out. And then you just slow the process down and figure it out. So, just take it step by step. This is an opportunity for you. It's right here. It's knocking. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, it's a different story. The Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn. It's going to make an aspect in the future. It's not lined up right now. So I would say back off on asking for a raise or trying to get more money, because the energy is not lined up, and therefore it's going to be too difficult to get something going. So just wait. Outside this 2-week period, you're going to see things get better. Okay, Capricorn, you're doing this full moon, lighting up your house of daily routines, your habits, basically what you do, hour by hour throughout your day. And it's sitting opposite those cool kids that are in that house of endless possibilities, where there are no clocks, there's no time limit, there's, just tapping into that psychic universal flow where there are all ideas and all energy. And so this could be something where you are looking at your daily life and saying, I'm going to do a daily spiritual practice so I can tap into that. I'm going to see the endless possibilities. Where you start to say to yourself, it doesn't matter how long it takes me to get to my destination. I'm moving forward towards it every single day. Now, out of the corner of your eye, of course, there's Saturn. And Saturn is about rules, and it's sitting in your house of communication, which is the inner thoughts that you're having about, am I good enough? Is this the right direction? Should I get some more information? Do I not have the right information? But the interesting thing about this for you specifically is that Saturn rules your chart. You know this voice. You know this you should energy that you just deal with constantly. And so, you can say to Saturn, you know what? If you're going to be helpful, that's great. Like if you're going to say, okay, you have to get up at this hour and then think about all the possibilities, do your meditation. Like if it's going to keep you on track that way, that's great. But you can say to Saturn, look, we are co-creating here with the universe. So don't limit me. Tell me where I'm already an expert. Tell me where I've already worked hard. Tell me what I'm already good at so that I can be encouraged to do more. And that's how you can use the Saturn where the rest of the signs can't. You can say, Saturn, you can support me. And so that's the principle saying to you, unwalking you to the cool kids and saying, hey, cool kids, this is you, and let me introduce you. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn, and that means that it's very difficult for you to connect with someone over this 2-week period. And some of that is because your mind is just elsewhere. Now, you are rather noticeable, or maybe you're noticing someone, but they're really busy. And so it just feels like it's a miss. It's like you wanted to meet them, but now they're out of town. They come back in town. Now you're out of town. So something's just not lining up. It's only for 2 weeks. So just wait to, see them until after this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, now the moon is making a square to Saturn, and that means you have an opportunity to get closer in your relationship. You have an opportunity to work out things. You might come together to support each other. Yes, a square can be rather combative, but how you should use this is the two of you join together to combat something outside of the relationship. And that is, to fight for more money or your rates, or to get a lower interest rate, or something to get the kid into a better class. You can do that now and strengthen your relationship. So if you find that you're kind of sniping at each other, find some common ground that you can work on together. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Uranus in your house of creativity and risk-taking, as well as that Saturn, which figures so prominently in this 2-week period. Now, that Saturn in your house of ideas says, if you have this idea and you're kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know if I should do this, Well, do a spreadsheet. Like break it down into the smallest little components. And then you can give it out to the moon and to the sun and to Mars, like, what do you think of this? Go do this. What about this? So, but break your ideas out into, a flow chart or a mind map or something that's going to give you the individual steps. Oftentimes when we're stuck on something, we get stuck because it feels too big, that we don't even know what to ask. And so that's when we start to ask ourselves different questions, like, what would this look like if it was easy? Or, who would know the answer to this question? So things like that can get you thinking. And that is what the Saturn in your house of thinking is about. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, well, even though the sun's not making an aspect to Uranus, the sun is making a square to Saturn. And so you have opportunities to make more money. Now, it's going to feel like, somebody knocks and you have to rush to, get them the order, get them the answer. There might be an investment you need to move on. So action is going to be necessary. And that means that you have to be ready. So what you want to be looking for is the actual opportunity. So keep your eyes open, because when it knocks, you're going to have to jump on it. But that could make you more money over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money-derived career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is making a square to Saturn. Again, we have that square. There's going to be an opportunity, like the supervisor may say to you, you really should get a raise. Jump on it, get the appointment, sit them down, talk to them about it. Or if there is some opportunity for, a bonus, if there is some, if you've been thinking about asking about the stock purchase plan for employees or some other perk, ask about it now. Take this opportunity, use the square to do some sort of action, and you could be very happy with the results. Okay, Aquarius, you guys are doing this full moon, lighting up your house of creativity and fun and risk-taking. And, you have all these ideas for self-expression, and that's sitting opposite the cool kids, which are sitting in the house of community. They're sitting in the house of the future and in technology. And so these are the things that they're waving at you and saying, you have ideas, we have technology, you have all these creative things you want to do, we know a community. So there are all these opportunities, but out of the corner of your eye, you see Saturn. And Saturn sitting in your house of money saying, oh, no, don't have fun. Just work and make money. You have bills to pay. You have obligations to do. And so you are needing to decide whether that is the route for you of just sticking to the job, or do you think that you can get those obligations made and still have fun? And could you find a way to do something that's creative and enjoyable in a bigger marketplace or in a bigger community and make what you need? And so that's your challenge this time, is to start looking at those ideas and maybe put your toe in the water by doing some creative things and seeing what kind of response you get. Seeing, when you get these accolades of like, yeah, do more of this, you might say, wow, this could lead to something. And so this is where you are making the choice of whether to break that rule or to adhere to the rules. And Aquarius, you're at a little bit of an advantage this time because you are naturally a rule breaker. So consider that you may actually want to lend your skills to other people who don't break rules as easily as you do. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury is making an inconjunct to Uranus, plus the full moon is there. So this is a time where we would definitely see an opportunity for you to meet someone, especially meeting someone in an unusual way or in a way you didn't expect. So go to new places, go to things that your friends want to go to, even if you're not interested, go to get together where you think you're not going to meet someone and you could meet someone. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the sun's not making an aspect with Uranus. So everything's just moving along as it has been. There's not a lot of change going on. If the relationship was, just like normally going on, you have your good parts and the highs and the lows, etc. It's doing that same thing over the next 2 weeks. There's not a lot you can work out until you get an aspect, but you will get an aspect in the future, and so you just wait to work things out till then. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Jupiter that is at the base of your chart that says that there are opportunities for doing a business with family members or people who you consider your spiritual family, as well as that Neptune, which is in your house of money. Now, this Neptune, which is making a square to Mercury, it indicates that it's time to get a bigger vision. It's time to look at how you see yourself in the future. Oftentimes, like, I hear people say, yes, I envision myself with $1 billion. And I say, well, do you envision yourself with doing 100,000 a year? And they go, oh no, I could never make that. So how do you get to the billion if you can't make 100,000, right? So this is where you want to look at the whole vision, the steps, where you're comfortable, where you're uncomfortable, and where you're uncomfortable, look and change the vision to make it comfortable, to make it something that you really want. If you think, I do want to win a large sum of money, but I don't want anybody to know my name. Well, figure out how you do that then, because generally when you win a lot of money, people know who you are. So, is there a way to do it and to set that up? So this is about now envisioning something, but when you run into a part of that vision that doesn't work for you, change the vision. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or from investments, Mercury's making a square to Neptune. They're both in money houses. This is an extraordinary time for you to make money. That means that opportunity is going to be there and you need to take action. This is not a time to be passive. This is someone's going to say, I'm interested in buying, and you should be right there, jumping on it. Or they say this is a good investment, then you should be investigating. So this is a time where if you take action, you can make a lot more money than usual. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, Jupiter's making a semi-square to Neptune, plus you have part of this full moon happening in that house. So this is one of your best times that you've had in a while to ask for more money. So this is a time to sit down with your supervisor and say, tell me how I can do this. Help me up the career ladder. If you are looking for a new job, you could get one and make more money. So make sure that you ask for all the perks, that you ask for everything. There may be some compromises you need to do. It is a semi-square, but it's still, if you ask for the whole pie, you'll still get a very big slice. Okay, Pisces, you are doing this full moon right at the base of your chart. This is where you are receiving from friends and family and spiritual family that support, that foundation. They're saying, we got your back. And the cool kids are at the top of the chart saying, come with us. You could be, bigger. You could get a better career. You could be known. You can be an influencer. You can be a celebrity. Your work could be seen by many. So it's saying, you can elevate what you're doing. And then out of the corner of your eye, right, you're seeing Saturn. Saturn is in your own sign of Pisces, in your house of confidence. And it's asking you, why should you be confident? What have you done to deserve whatever it is that you're getting? It is telling you you're not good enough. And this is what this whole transit of Saturn and Pisces is for you to stop listening to that voice and to say, I am the authority of me. That is that you are the one who decides whether you're confident or not. You're the one who decides whether you're enough. It is not up to someone else. It doesn't have to come from outside of you. You own that Saturn right now. So stop putting it in, the house of other people. It's yours. So in other words, it's like the principal is your dad. So, and your dad does want to support you. Your dad says, hey, go be with the cool kids. You should have that high school experience. So you're getting the support. So don't get in the way of that. Allow yourself to say, I have every reason to be confident, because of the things you've done already in your life. You know, they may not be exactly like this, but there are similarities. So this is where you can turn that Saturn from a block into something that helps and supports you. When it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though the moon's not making an aspect with Neptune, it is making a semi-sextile to Jupiter, which means there is an opportunity to meet someone, but there is some little hurdle here. It's a tiny, like it's a little ant hurdle, like it's a tiny little thing that's in the way. And it's funny because sometimes just a little bit of friction is the thing that holds us back. Like if we are already hesitant about something, then, we say, hey, do you want to go out Saturday night? And they say, oh, I can't. How about Sunday night? And you're like, nope, that's it. No. Instead of taking the little bit of friction as a no or a sign, just say, oh yeah, I'll make an adjustment. That's all that's needed here, is just make a little adjustment and then something really good could happen. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury's making a square to Neptune, so you have an opportunity to come together in your partnership and work something out, or come together as a team to work on something that's difficult. So you could really get something done. You could, get something like if you're moving or you're changing jobs or something, you can get a lot of support right now from your partner because you want to work on this as a united front. But if you need to work out something between the two of you, you might do that. It may start a little contentious, but you could find, that common ground, and then you could start working together. So this could be a very active time in your relationship. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mars, which is at the very top of your chart, is the adventurer, Mars in Sagittarius, and that means that it's time for an adventure. It's time to think bigger and to think about what you would love to do. It's like if you had a magic wand and you could just say, okay, I want to do this for a career. If you said, this is the type of thing I want to do that helps others, that lets me travel to, that lets me go learn things, like go think of the things that you would want to do and then tell the universe so the universe can put that together for you. Instead of saying, oh, this could never happen, I couldn't make money that way. Instead, say, these are the possibilities. Like, put your order into the universe and then let the universe decide if that's possible. Don't you decide, don't say, oh, well, I know that will never happen. Yeah, instead say, hey, universe of all possibilities, what do you think of this? Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is making a semi-square to Mars. So that means that while there is a little bit of friction, you can make more money over the next 2 weeks. That is, when there's friction, that means that you might be procrastinating, things don't feel that fun. That might mean that you need to tweak the website, or you've got a lot of paperwork to do, or you need to look at the investments and open up all your accounts and move money around, like these types of things that maybe you can't delegate, maybe you can't eliminate those things. Maybe you could streamline them, but again, that takes a little bit of time and effort to think, how can I automate this system? But you could make more money over the next 2 weeks if you are willing to do those types of activities. And then when it comes to money from career, so that's like a paycheck, Mars is making a square to Saturn, you have a great opportunity to make more money in your career over the next 2 weeks. That would mean getting a raise, getting a bonus. If you're negotiating for a new job, you could get a higher salary. So this would be a time to take the interview, make sure that you're calling them and say, hey, I interviewed with you guys a little while ago. What's going on about it? Like, be proactive about it. Sit down with your boss, talk about your career in general. When you're proactive, you could do very, very well. So this is one of the best aspects you've had in a while. So you want to take advantage of it. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. I am posting about half every other day or so with a little picture about what the aspects are for the day. There is a link in the description, and I will see you in the next video.